Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have a little bit more PlayStation and Xbox news going on right now, where basically the PlayStation is now doing massive sales, even in comparison to the Xbox console. We're still seeing like a little more updates on the whole Xbox big debacle going on with them trying to go get rid of the Xbox branding, and as well as some intriguing and somewhat maybe Saturday news when it comes to GTA 6 all throughout this video, so if you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch link down below, and sign up for Weeble, deposit $100 or any type of bit of money at all. You guys get a bunch of free stock, over $100, get to sell, withdraw, go from there. Let's go dive in the video itself. So, as you guys probably know, throughout this entire console generation, the PlayStation's been kind of on the winning side. We saw a really big influx of basically stock floating around everywhere. The PlayStation was actually sold out a little bit longer too as well for the Xbox, and the overall sales numbers are kind of getting to the point where they're ridiculous in comparison to the PlayStation Xbox side. Now, a lot of folks, myself included, are kind of assuming that Xbox is going to try to go and phase out the Xbox branding and more so focus on like being a publisher, trying to go focus on, just making games, developing games, putting out every single different type of console, Game Pass, etc. And so far, these numbers actually go and support this. We had a very intriguing thing over here when it comes to Take-Two, which is basically of Rockstar itself, saying that they had the in total install base, so pretty much the entirety of this Generation 9 console, so the Xbox Series X, S, and PS5s, has been apparently around 77 million units as of December 31st of 2023. So as of this second, it's probably a little bit bigger. We are like a few months in, but those are somewhat comparable numbers. Usually these big data figures usually lag a little bit too as well. So let's just say that's like just used as a good, say, a baseline standard. As well, around that same exact time, or pretty much the end of the year, Sony was announcing that around 50 million PlayStation 5s were sold and shipped. There was a little bit of drama, where basically, like, say, like Walmart bought 1 million consoles. They're in warehouses. Did you count that? Do you not count that? Same with like a Target, Amazon, Best Buy, all the European places, China, Korea, wherever it might be. But at the same time, they had 50 million allocated units. And then at the same time, too, as well, we're using these figures. And typically, Xbox hasn't been too public on how many sales they've had, on how much Game Pass subscribers they've had overall, but it's intriguing to go and say that we now have somewhat of a roughly figure based on these really high industry figures. So, as you guys can maybe go and do the really basic math, as of right this second, one of the bigger game makers, say GTA 6, GTA 5, has put the sales at 77 million. Sony publicly has already said it because they are pretty, they're kind of boasting and they're bragging about it, which is fine because they're doing well, but they have 50 million units sold. So just using those really baseline figures that Sony went public with, and same with, Take-Two have gone with, right now, that leaves around 26 to 27 million consoles sold for the Xbox Series X and S. Now, people are very intrigued on these numbers, because number one, that basically is a 2-to-1. Like, it might, depending on like the sales figures, but basically the overall sales trajectory for PlayStation's been a little bit higher than Xbox. You can probably just tell by the overall general sales. Not necessarily too much of a console war back and forth, but more of just saying like the PlayStation has sold very well, and using this to kind of go and see what Xbox has sold. Now, in the general sense, when it comes to a console or hardware, 25 million units, that's pretty good. Overall, that's pretty good. But at the same time, when your big number one competitor is at 50 and it's literally doubling you, yeah, that is when things get a little bit on the feisty side. So if you can come through over here, there's been apparently estimated 3.4 billion global video game users, 77 million Gen 9 consoles outstanding worldwide, 3 billion active video game players. Interactive entertainment market is valued at around $222 billion. Interactive entertainment is the number one entertainment vertical. So basically, video games are doing better than, let's say, movies or TV shows. And the mobile and tablet market, which is also a crazy number, $136 billion in gross bookings in 2023. So it kind of goes to show that how much mobile gaming has been growing in an astronomical terms. There has been nearly 88 billion mobile game downloads in 2023, and basically a 4% improvement on the mobile market. But once again, these numbers are more intriguing based on the fact that we now have rough Xbox numbers. So a lot of folks have been trying to go put 2 and 2 together, mainly on the fact of, is Xbox even doing well? Do we enjoy Xbox? Sorry, I have to cough. So do we enjoy this? Do we like the console? Is the console worth still being made? And it's kind of been the big focal point for the past week or so on the channel, is the Xbox even worth still being produced? Because we kind of have this weird segue of them trying to phase out Xbox, although it does have very strong branding. At the same time, Microsoft is a bigger company, and it's kind of like, let's go and say you have Apple and iPhone. Now the iPhone is very, very like known, but you maybe want to just replace it with the Apple phone. Or maybe a good example is like Facebook. Facebook wanted to go and switch to Meta, and although some people can kind of go either way on their calls, Meta itself is now the technical name of the company. Good example is also Google. Everyone knows Google, but Google is a big subsidiary of, well, now generally multiple different types of companies, because you have things like YouTube, you have Google, you have like things like their Gmail and other various service products, AdSense, etc. But at the big time, like the big higher up is the parent company is once again Alphabet. So it's very intriguing because they want to phase that out. Because technically Microsoft is a somewhat technically, probably on the financial side, a bigger brand, while Xbox is maybe more well-known in gaming. So it's kind of weird because you can basically just still have them be interchangeable as they always have been, even as they are currently, although they are trying to phase it out as we will maybe talk about in a separate video later on tonight even more. But regardless, the numbers are not lying. If you have PlayStation basically doubling your sales, it's an intriguing thing to know, because why not just switch to the publisher? If you already kind of quote unquote lost the console war due to these sales in general, oh, well, then why not? I just go become a publisher and kind of support the people who won, because you kind of have a lot of big things that are, well, needed. So a good example is Call of Duty. We keep on mentioning how they bought out Call of Duty, and that is a huge revenue driver on every platform. When it comes to PlayStation, on sales, microtransactions, when it comes to potential brand new Game Pass, which is still going to be a thing, it's still around just because Xbox might get phased out, Game Pass still does exist. So at this day and age, do you even want to keep the Xbox console? Now, I'd probably go and say 25 million plus sales is good. Like, that's still, you're making money. You're still getting more people in the ecosystem. You're the people who have the Xbox 360s, or just the original Xbox from back in the day. And, like, it's nice to have this competition. Like, I almost feel like we need to have the competition, or PlayStation becomes its own monopoly, at least on the console side. Now, there is always the Switch, yeah, sure, and also mobile gaming, like the Lenovo Legion and like the Steam Deck, sure. But at the same time, like, I almost feel like we need Xbox. Now, I'm always kind of on the 50-50. Like, if people aren't buying it, what's the point? But 25 million sales is still good. Now, there may be a time, though, in the future, because what if, like, the PS6 hits 100 million sales and the Xbox is still only at 25? The ratio on a 1-to-4 ratio is not good. A 1/2 ratio is not good. That's like if you basically have Target and Walmart, and then Target somehow starts having 2 times as many Target stores in Walmart, and also same with the online sales, then what's the point? So maybe that's like kind of to differentiate that. What if then Target has all the online, like, physical stores, and they get the physical store market, and then Walmart's like, hey, we're having a good thing going over here with our online shops. Think how Amazon is. We'll go and stick with the online shops, because we don't necessarily need to have these physical locations, and you kind of go and switch around depending on how the market goes and, well, transitions. You, in theory, can have a PlayStation basically being the #1 console, and have the Xbox be more of a publisher and Game Pass alternative, and focus more on the PC market. Like, it still works. Like, it's still fine. Although, I would probably say Xbox is somewhat probably seething at the end of the day, because they want to have both. Like, if you're a big company, you want to have both. Now, that's not saying Xbox really failed, but they did kind of lose the console war. And that also may have to go lead them towards kind of diverting into what they want to do in the future. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I think Xbox is doing good, but only having like 25 million sales, especially when your main competitor has pretty much double, and same with the Switch, is even bigger than them both at this time, it's kind of a crazy thing to go and see. So I want to hear your big thoughts on this one, because it also kind of leads towards with these guidances where GTA 6 may not even appear until 2024. Now, this is intriguing too, because we were probably expecting a mid-console generation refresher, and even now it seems like Xbox might be completely X-naying that and is waiting for the next generation Xbox. While the PlayStation 5 Pro may go make a Pro version to kind of go and keep up with the times, Xbox may say whatever and try to focus on their next big console version itself. So they're saying over here too, it does seem like it's gonna depend. Some people were hoping for like an earlier launch. This might be more of like at any point basically from like April to probably December for 2025. So at least we have like a somewhat more close and fine-knit release date, but still we haven't had the proper terminology. Basically, this is basically where stockholders are like, hey, throughout this next like 12-year block, it's not end of year or start to year end of year. It's more of like a in the middle of the year. So basically, it's not gonna be released until April onwards, at least at the bare minimum. So this is basically how like shareholders kind of go and share like what to expect, how to expect profits and all of that. And they mentioned that there is basically going to be a $7 billion means no GTA in fiscal year 25. We can only summarize that GTA 6 has been slipped out of the fiscal year of 25 in line with our earlier expectations, meaning probably for the next fiscal year of 2026. So once again, this doesn't mean the year 2026, just the fiscal year, which is slightly more on the different side. And basically, we're kind of using this by looking at the revenue numbers, because if they're expecting a huge revenue increase and they're not expecting that for those proper months, that means that GTA is probably not going to come out. So all around some intriguing news as well. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch link down below. Subscribe if you guys want to, and sign up for Weeble if you guys would like to as well. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here in the first place.